So you
correct.
got up at 4 a.m. to bid on this particular collectible.
Yes. And placed the bid like with 4 seconds left, 3 seconds left. It went through and I won and I got it at if yeah, the floor was about 400, so I got it for 1.25x floor.
Wow, that meant, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I was
That's
super
really
happy.
good. In this episode, Mr. V will give you a masterclass on how to find incredible deals on auction in VeVe, how to actually win them, the most common mistakes that so many people make, and how to not lose money bidding. Let's get to it.
Start off with something easy. I want to talk about auctions in the VeVe app or on the web app, whatever you may use. So, over the past couple of months, there have been just crazy deals going on in the that are going on in auction. But I feel like part of that is because it's being overlooked or just not something people are looking to gravitate to for whatever reason. So I've seen a lot of different activity going on. So I'll say a couple things about it. When people list items way over floor, those items generally don't go for sale. And so the more popular thing to do is list things for like 1 gem or start just below floor price to catch people's attention and to get the bids going. Sometimes you'll go 23 out of the 24 hours with zero bids, and then in the final couple of seconds, you'll see like multiple people trying to bid, but they're all super, super, super low. And generally speaking, the winner will win the item, the collectible or the comic for just barely over floor, almost regardless of the type of mint that that the item has, which is just absolutely ridiculous. Because if you had those same things listed in the market, they could almost surely go for a premium of at least 1.5 to 2x,
Hmm.
especially if they're a nicer mint, right? Like a sub 100 mint or, a date mint or what have you. So there's that dynamic going on at the same time. So what I wanted to talk about more specifically is for people who are listening, when you see an item up for auction, it's so easy for us to forget about them unless we maybe set an alarm on our phones or our devices or whatever we have to remind us of, hey, the auction ends at 12:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you set a timer 5 minutes before just to monitor it and get your bid, the maximum that you want to pay for it, ready to go in the final 4 or 3 seconds. And another thing that we could consider doing is placing a super tiny bid just so that we have it listed in our app. So like if something's going up for auction, instead of heavily going for those bids, like I've seen recently some items where it's like a war really early on, like within the first couple hours of a listing. So say if something's listed for like 1 gem and the floor is 50 gems, you might see two or three people going at it, and then within like the first couple hours, it's already at floor.
Hmm.
And whether it's whether an item is at like 1 gem or close to floor, one thing that people could consider doing to help themselves as like maybe a reminder of your interest in that item is to place a super tiny bid relative to what the current bid is at. So you could bid in multiples of zero point zero 0.01 gems. So if the current bid is 50 gems, you could bid 50.01 gems. And now it's on your current listings for or current auction bids. And as somebody else bids on it, you'll get a notification of, hey, you've just been
Oh, you
out.
actually do? Like the VeVe app actually notifies you if you've been outbid?
Yes. But it's
Okay.
just that first time of like, okay, as soon as you've been outbid, you get that one fair warning and the rest is on you. So the reason why I brought up those two things is because one, you want to get your bid on there so that you have that kind of soft reminder that you are interested in it. And two, maybe it's time that you start considering setting an alarm on your phone, maybe 5 or 10 minutes or whatever you're comfortable with, in anticipation of the ending of that auction, because those deals are out there and they're plentiful. They are plentiful every
Mm,
single day, every single week. And the other tricky thing is your time, maybe you're like everyone has in a different time zone, right?
right.
Maybe someone in Australia has an auction that's going to end at like 3 a.m. Central Standard Time, or whatever. You're on the East Coast, West Coast, in Europe, wherever. So that does get tricky. And I have won a couple of auctions that way, where it's in the middle of the night from where I am, and I set an alarm. I woke up in the middle of the night. I bid last second.
Dedication, baby.
Yeah, and I've won some dynamite pieces, some awesome pieces because of that. So it's just a little tip for those who are interested in maybe exploring other services on the app, such as auction. I forget what it's called. Yeah, if it's up for auction, you have that as another resource in the app, and it also adds some excitement too because you're really close. It's just like when you're going for a really low mint drop. Maybe you're gonna get it, maybe you're not, but at least you're putting yourself in a position to win that auction.
So I have a few follow-up questions. Can you talk about one dynamite deal that you got from auction?
Sure. The All right, so I wanted the I want to complete my Golden Moments collection with the same mint, but they were all
Wait,
going for,
this is the whole collection or just one particular set in one particular golden moment set?
well, personally, I'd love to finish the entire Golden Moments collection. The 20, I think there are 20 pieces. I have 8 out of 20 with the same mint.
Wow.
That's been a real big challenge, but so far so good, and I'm patient, so hopefully it'll work out. One of those 8 pieces was the Bart's skateboard. So the very first Golden Moments drop. I really wanted it. I saw it on the market for several thousand gems as of drop day, and maybe a year and a half went by, and the market dipped and all of that good stuff. Then I saw this person listed for auction, and every time that it didn't sell, the person would lower the price. And it got
Mm.
down to a really competitive price. Let me take a look here. It got down to a really competitive price, and it was set to finish at 4 a.m. my time.
Hold on. Is it the mint? We don't have to review the mint, but this is the mint that we both know that you like, right? Okay, all right, go on. 4 a.m.
And the floor was about 300 or 400 gems, and this person had listed it for auction for 500. And I went ahead and waited until the very last second to place the bid. I just bid at the floor because I noticed that nobody else was placing the bid of any bids on, obviously because they kept on lowering the
So you
price.
got up at 4 a.m. to bid on this particular collectible.
Yes. And placed the bid like with 4 seconds left, 3 seconds left. It went through and I won, and I got it at, if yeah, the floor was about 400, so I got it for 1.25x floor.
Wow. That mint. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I was
That's
super
really
happy.
good. 1.25, that's like 500. Well, if the floor was 400, then it's going to be 500.
Right, exactly.
And you were the only bidder.
Yeah. I don't know if it was because of the auction time, or if it just people weren't really looking for that particular collectible. Fact that it was the
Wow.
first golden moment drop, that and it was The Simpsons I liked it a lot. I grew up watching that show for years, and I thought it was a fantastic deal. And right
Yeah,
now,
it's a really good deal.
and I checked just now, and the floor for that it's about 190 gems. So yeah, the floor went down a bit, but I locked up a piece that I know that I'm not going to be getting rid of anytime soon. So I'm very excited.
100%. Yeah,
Um,
that's
so
awesome.
so that's kind of like something that people could consider doing moving forward if they haven't already. It's just keep an eye on the collectibles that you do like because chances are if the owners are listing them way over floor, they're probably not going to sell, right? So
Hmm.
they're going to want to lower the price bit by bit. And if the price is right for you, then you might get a great deal.
What is the time frame of an auction?
It's
Is it
24
20?
hours. 24
It's
hours.
only 24 hours?
Mhm.
Wow. Man, I would feel bad if the floor was 400, that particular mint, and it sold for 500. Is it the original seller? Was he like, is it possible to cancel the auction last minute if the price doesn't match your expectation? Or if you list it, then it's out there and there's nothing you can do about it.
If it's listed, you could cancel it if no one else has placed a bid. However,
Oh,
if someone has placed a bid, you cannot cancel it. And this is another sneaky thing that I've seen people do. So there are some flippers out there, some people who snipe mints and they list them and they want to get rid of the collectibles for whatever price they want. Some people have multiple accounts or may have friends who help them out. If you have someone place a bid and they don't pay what they agreed to by the end of the auction, they have about 12 hours, I think, to pay the amount. If they don't, then they're suspended from being able to do transactions on the market for 3 days, I believe.
yeah. Okay.
And I've known people who kind of work together in teams who like so they'll manipulate the prices. So if they see that somebody bids on an item, they may raise the floor higher significantly. And if they know that somebody wants them or multiple people wants that collectible, they'll have their friend or associate place higher bids to raise the floor to a price that they are willing to let it go at. And if the interested parties do want to get that collectible, they're going to have to beat their associate who is being really sneaky and trying to raise the floor for the owner.
If I understanding it correctly, you and I can team up. Let's just say our good friend Ham Jam put up this item for auction. We really want it. Well, we really want this particular item. What what we can do is I can put well, and we have to compete with other folks, right? What I can do is I can, let's just say, place a bid for 200 gems, and I become the number one bidder, right? And then maybe there's an hour left in this auction. You come in, you put a bid for 1,000 gems, and you win it. And you decide not to pay. You take the 72 hours ban, and because of that reason, because you don't pay for it, I win it. So,
Oh no, that doesn't
oh no,
work. It doesn't
okay.
work that way. Yeah, so
Hmm.
like the second in place doesn't get that chance to pay for it in the regular auction.
Oh,
Like I think what was it? The one of ones, right? I think that because those are more expensive and special cases, I think they're able to communicate with the bidders because it's a silent auction, right? Nobody knows
mm.
who won it, right? Until it's been announced. And so they go to the next person and they can reach out and work out that payment. But with the regular auctions, the second place bidder doesn't get that chance. So
Oh, okay,
the person who owns that collectible has to relist it or or
okay.
or just hold on to it and decide something else to do something else with it.
So what is this team up thing that you were talking about? Like, can you give me an example of how it works?
Yeah, it's some really shady stuff, and I've seen it happen way too much. It's really gross. But unless you educate yourself or spend enough time on the market to know who's collaborating with who and see those trends, you could be you could get caught blindsided, and some people get too emotional with trying to win a particular item, and they end up spending overspending on something.
Oh, I see.
So really, it's just plain and simple. Just like you said before, the bid might start off super low. It might say it's a number 41 mint, first public mint of X item. Those are pretty damn desirable. So the floor might start off at 100 gems, and somebody bids to start it off. Then somebody will suddenly just start with somebody will place a second highest bid, or the next highest bid, as 500 gems. So all of a sudden, you're going from 100 gems to 500 gems.
Hmm.
All of a sudden, with no reason for that, no reason whatsoever for that. Because normally with auctions, you want to kind of work your way up
Right.
slowly or wait till the last second. And everyone who's been around knows that at this point. But
Yeah.
it's very clear that there's some sketchy stuff going on when somebody just overbids, like exaggerate the amount. That will happen, and that's a red flag right away. That should be a red flag right away for anybody who's interested. So you see that, then you see other people who kind of jump in just trying to be cute, even though they know they can't afford the item and they'll bid 1 cent over. But if you're a more serious bidder, you probably want to bid anything slightly over the next highest bid, so you have it on your app ready to go as a current item that you're bidding on, right? And you get that first notification. Maybe that would be a reminder for you to set your alarm, so on and so forth. But then you'll see the floor constantly rising, not by a couple of gems, but 100 plus. And I've seen collectibles go for 500 to 1,000 gems over floor from one bid to the next. So
Mm.
those are all red flags. You need
That
to,
sounds like somebody is trying to artificially inflate the price or
yeah,
what the value of a collectible, right?
that's
Like you and I can work together. I can list something for auction. You can create that fake hype by bidding a very high amount so that the other folks can think, oh, wow, this guy's willing to pay that much for it. It probably is worth something like that.
yeah, it's playing with people's emotions, and they don't want to
Oh,
lose
I see now.
lose
Yeah.
it. But as they work together, they're raising the floor, and they're also securing the item so that they know that they won't lose it. And unless they get paid the amount that they want, there's
Oh,
nothing to
okay.
worry about. And this was much more rampant when you didn't have to do KYC. This is pre-KYC. It was all over the place. It was just a
Yeah.
madhouse, and it was a free for all. And now you'll see some of that. You'll still see some of that. I'm aware of some people who are doing that, and I've stopped doing business with them. I've stopped helping them out because they would ask me, hey, do you know anybody who's interested in this? I'd help. I'm open to helping people out, connecting people together because, that's how you build a community, and it's, the least that you can do, right? As a member of a community. But then those people will be very self-serving. So when I ask them, hey, what would you offer for this? Or how much are you asking for this item? Because I've seen you list it, but nobody bought it. Would you consider this amount? Wouldn't hear back for weeks, and then you know and then when they need something, they'll ask you. So it's those kind of people are very self-serving. They'll only communicate with you when they want your help, but if you want to reach out to them for anything, they won't respond. So it does reflect poorly on those kind of people, and then at the end of the day, they're going to lose business. They're going to lose out on business that they want. because I my impression is that they're not really collectors. They just want to flip and make some money, and to each his own. But I'm not about that.
Yeah. So I guess the three takeaways that I got from this topic is there are really good deals from auctions, right? Personally, I never look at auctions because maybe it's mentally, I always have this perception of, okay, auctions are definitely not my game. I'm a floor guy. If I have to compete with my gems, then I would definitely lose. But from your case, from your experience, you got a really good deal, very beautiful mint, by the way, which is a little bit over floor. So maybe that is like a territory. Maybe auctions is a territory that everybody should look at once in a while. Maybe like expand their game a little bit from floor to auction. So that's a really good point. And the second thing is don't get caught up with your emotions when doing an auction because you can get trapped in that rush, that euphoria of, oh, I'm winning this by a gem, and you end up paying way too much money for it because you are competitive and because they got you, right? And last but not least, those connections and those relationships in the app really matter as well, because it doesn't like relationships matter to me because I am a content creator. I like to build my network. I like to learn from people. They matter to you because you are always out looking for the mint. You have the mint people may want. So that network, that relationships is very important for you. And when you build it, don't burn the bridges because, of like small things like short-term profit or whatever, right?
Yeah, those it's a very delicate dynamic. Some people take it personally. Some people stop talking to me for one reason or another. I've stopped talking to people because of one reason or another. And yeah, you have to tread very carefully because you know, people when you're collecting, there's an emotional facet, right? You get attached to these items. Maybe you're just, or maybe your objective of being able to flip is no longer an opportunity because of a bad deal. There's just so much that could go south or sour in
Mm-hmm.
these exchanges. Just be prepared for that. Don't take things personally because you never know what situation people are in. But also educate yourself, spend some time in identifying common pattern or those patterns amongst account holders and see if there's anything fishy going on, especially if there's a huge jump in the price of the of the auction in the auctions. That should be a red flag for anybody who's involved in one of those things. So
Yeah.
maybe try your luck in those last couple of seconds to place a final bid, but also be prepared for somebody who's going to overbid 1,000 gems or whatever because they know that they don't want to lose the piece and just give it away for pennies on the dollar or just barely over floor. There will be plenty of those moments that anybody who experiences the auctions in the app in VeVe, that sort of thing will happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen all the time, but it's going to happen at least a few times.
That is it, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review and a rating. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to having you next time. Peace.